Good afternoon to anyone who may be viewing this. My name is Lead Officer Manny Hernandez. I am the head of the program in charge of deciding what to do with these anomalies. Now, it is clear that many of them are campaigning for the release and freedom of each and every one of them. However, I believe that this is a terrible idea. Many of these characters are much more powerful than the average man. Some of them even being able to take out armies. If it were up to me, instead of building them homes for us to live among them, I would build them maximum security prisons so that they can be locked away forever. This Sans character especially appears especially powerful. Stupid and buffoonish, but that's not the point. The point is, these characters are dangerous and should be locked away, despite whatever Officer Williams tries to do.
Now that ugly mug that you just saw was Manny Epic Hernandez. Yeah, he literally says that his middle name is Epic. He files every paper with that. I don't know why. But anyway, I luckily got reinstated at my job here in my log station. Because my boss didn't know where else to put me. But anyway, that doesn't matter. I was very fortunate to talk to another very kind animatronic. Bonnie was honestly a bit of an issue. I honestly question if he's like every light is on upstairs or whatever, because sometimes he seems stupid, but he could also be very, very smart too. So I honestly do not know what's up with that. Like, he's very smart, but also very naive, it seems like. But he was a pleasure to talk to. I think he helped me fix my laptop. I had that stupid hippo playing for 3 days straight. But anyway, he also seems to not care for whatever Manny is doing upstairs. None of them do. I mean, why would they? He's petitioning to get them locked away forever. He seems to hate everything video game related. Like, he doesn't seem to understand it at all. Like, even I played a decent amount of Mario and Sonic when I was a kid. But, like, man, this guy is just awful. Like, he had no real childhood. But, anyway, nonetheless, here is my interrogation of Toy Bonnie, giving me a lot of interesting details on his world. Alright, this is Officer Ralph Williams interrogating Toy Bonnie the Bunny. So, can you tell me a little bit about yourself before we get too into this?
Yeah, sure. My name is Bonnie. I am a bunny, also a robot.
Anything else?
Oh yeah, sorry. Well, I'm a bit of a tinkerer. I like making stuff. I do tend to have an issue finding out which one's Freddy.
Wait, what do you mean, which one's Freddy?
In my game, there's a Freddy mask, and if they put it on, I can't tell. You just hate it when you can't tell which one's Freddy because of the sensors in your eyes.
What?
Anyway, what questions do you have?
Oh, yes. The questions. Well, first question is, of course, you have been around the longest out of the two FNAF characters that came into the real world. Can you tell me a bit of what the lore is? Because I have seen many videos from Matt Pat,
Who's Matt?
Don't ask. I already tried to explain it to Freddy and it did not work. So, what is the FNAF lore?
Well, let me see. It all really started back with Fredbear's Family Diner, with the springlock suits that were created by Henry, Emily, and William Afton. And I think there was some help from a guy named Edwin, but I don't know much about him.
Alright, so what happened at that diner?
Well, that is when the bite of 83 happened, where a little kid got his head chopped by a Fredbear.
Wait, I thought that was the bite of 87.
What? No, bite of 87 happened at my restaurant. Why would you think that's the bite of 87?
No reason.
So then, Fredbear's closed down, Foxy was put into storage, and people thought the Fazbear name was gonna go away forever.
But it didn't. It is still very much around.
Oh yeah. Then they tried to make a more safer restaurant with more cuddly-looking animatronics, aka me, the toy animatronics. Me and my best friend Chica, we were the two of the main toy animatronics, and we were some of the first to gain intelligence thanks to the puppet, another good friend of ours. But unfortunately, that is when Afton came back for the first time. He was spring-locked, and somehow he was still alive.
How do spring locks work again?
So basically there's these latches inside that stab into the endoskeleton of the robot, but when you wind them up, they open up, allowing you to put on the suit as a suit. But unfortunately, the spring locks kind of broke, and they stabbed into Afton, which normally would kill someone, but unfortunately for us, it didn't kill him. Anyway, yeah, it's just...
That sounds very grim.
Yeah, it is. But that's when we met Foxy in the storage room, and we were gonna try to escape from Afton, who came back to try to finish us off, basically, and tear us apart. So me, Chica, and Foxy went to escape, but that's when we found some secret elevator that led down to this bunker underneath, a sister location of sorts. And that is where we met Ballora and Helpy, as well as Funtime Freddy and Circus Baby, who were not fun. But after fighting those guys off and Ballora saving us, we decided to become a little group of friends. But unfortunately, the bite of 87 happened, causing Freddy Fazbear's to close down again, and power was shut off, meaning none of us could charge, so we were left under there for a very, very long time. When we woke, we found out a lot had happened. A lot more animatronics were made. Some guy named Mike came down, and Circus Baby and Funtime Freddy escaped somewhere. But then that was when another pizzeria was built on top, but that was like a trap made by Henry, and they were going to try to kill William, but again, he always comes back, and he came back again, unfortunately. And a mall was built on top of that pizzeria, so it was like we were under a pizzeria underneath a mall, which was crazy, but eventually we made it out, and that is when we met Freddy and the Glamrocks, who became very close friends. I think Foxy has a name for Roxy, but I don't know yet. But we eventually befriended the Glamrocks, and we met Gregory and found out about Burn Trap. Or I like to call him Death Trap. Or, I don't know, there's a lot of traps at this point. But I think that Springtrap or this trap, I don't know.
So, William Afton, I've seen a lot of discourse on who he is in Security Breach, that game, the one that comes right before yours.
Mm-hmm.
Is he Afton? Because I thought Afton was in hell.
No, yeah, Afton, I think, is still dead. Because I think this one, the one parading around as Afton, is something we call the Mimic. Which, I don't know how that's gonna go, but we were sucked out before we could stop it, so hopefully the others doing well.
Oh yeah, your friends are still there. Do you think they could take on the Mimic themselves?
If anyone can, it's my friends. I just hope they're doing okay. especially Chica.
Yeah. I'm real sorry about all that.
No, it's fine. Hopefully we'll see him again someday.
Yeah, who knows? Well, thank you very much for explaining the FNAF lore to me, but maybe you can go back and hang out with Freddy some more. I think you deserve to spend some more time with at least one of your friends.
Really? We're supposed to stay alone in our rooms? Like, we're isolated for a reason.
Well, if you have a certain keycard access, I think you can get into your friend's room.
Are you getting your key card?
Listen, kid, or robot, or whatever. You all are going through a lot right now, and I think it's really unfair how they keep you completely isolated from one another. And I can tell you have been isolated from people enough in your life, or afterlife, or whatever you are. I think you deserve some time to hang out with your best friend.
Wow. Thank you, Mr. Williams. It really means a lot.
Of course. Now, this is Officer Ralph Williams, signing off.
Now, Bonnie is certainly interesting because he gave me a lot more details than Glamrock Freddy did. Because Glamrock Freddy was a newer animatronic in the Fazbear Entertainment industries. But Bonnie had been around for a very, very long time and got to witness a lot. Because he was one of the witnesses of this William Afton guy. And when I heard how much child murder is in Five Nights at Freddy's, I was shocked and appalled. Because, I thought, that series was geared towards children at this point, but jeez. It gets dark. But, nonetheless, that doesn't really matter right now. What does matter is that Bonnie was one of those children, and now has to live his entire afterlife as a robotic bunny, which, I would hate that. But he seems to be making the most of it, so who am I to stop this fun? Now, I should be getting ready. I have Sans Undertale to interrogate next. I still cannot believe that it's his actual last name. Well, off to interrogate a spooky, scary skeleton.